So yeah, this morning we had UK inflation. Okay, it wasn't very appetizing. You didn't get that massive fall. And as you know, the thing is with currency pairs, generally over time, the currency with the lower interest rate from their central bank advances. If you go and look up about carry trades and things like that, you can learn a bit. But the reason why is because it's cheaper to borrow in that economic zone or in that economy. And obviously, therefore, if it's cheaper to borrow, that currency will advance in price. So because the pound is now getting more expensive to borrow, people are pricing that in and shorting. Okay. So it looks like from reading the pound news, that is going on longer and longer and longer, going up nearer 6%. As I said, when you do get those sentiment changes, especially with central banks, normally you'll get a really big fall. But I think a lot of people knew that was sort of going to happen. So that's why you haven't had as much. But just be careful, because if the fall isn't enormously large and you get long, you can get long for scalp gains. Okay, so you would drop to a 15-minute or something like that. But more so, if that sentiment remains weak and you really want market value, you're not interested in scalping, perhaps you're not day trading or you're just more risk averse, you can look nearer these higher MAs and let that market sentiment pull the market down until you get to a good point where you can get long. And that really, across the board, is quite similar for all the pound pairs at the moment, because they've all had the same thing happen. Okay, you've got it with the AUD. You can only really see key support much lower down here. And if you know that market sentiment's poor, then there's a good chance that it will keep coming down to that point. And you can just hold off. And even so, if you're not in the market, you're not risking money. Okay, so that's why it's best to wait sometimes. You should never be bored and trade or anything like that. Just let the market do its thing. Okay, you've got the same thing for the pound CAD. Let it come nearer its MAs. We all know price is always going to get back there. And you've got your pound dollar, etc. And it goes on, really. You can put your time frames up. Something like your daily is ideal. Okay, again, you can see we're way off these MAs. And we're going to come back at some point. So it may as well be where I'm drawing these areas. Okay, and that's your first point of contact with early support. So you don't want an enormous long, because there's still room for you to fall at that point. Okay, pound yen is a little bit different because you've got more of an extreme market. But I would only like to look long if you can get back down there. The current fall isn't enough, clearly. You can see that price is hardly low, so there's no point in buying it. All right, just let the market do its thing. Let it move down after those prolific high-level events like interest rates. Now, if you're trading the immediate reaction, again, we can pull up something like the pound New Zealand. Your goal really in that instance, I mean, if you're actually actively day trading it, perhaps you're up really early in the UK, you get a lot of impulse. Okay, you can see that, and then it all fades away. So often after these kind of things, what follows is those falls. All right, you have these really big pushes up, and then following it is that push down. In this instance, you had these previous highs, you come above it on all that hype, and then the market falls through. If you pick something like the pound CAD, you've got the same. Okay, up, and then it comes down. All right. So when you do have these high-level events, if you were going to look short anyway, so if you're on your daily, you can see that the pound CAD was a short anyway, as well as other assets or other FX pairs, like your pound dollar, then trading that impulse hype to the upside is even better. Because in this instance, you had a pop up, which you could re-short in line with all of this. Okay. And you're now looking to carry that trend down. So if you didn't get it short, of course, you can just wait until you get to that early support and you can just take the long side. That's fine. Okay. You don't have to take two sides all the time.